Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Front Row Chaos. You are witnessing something very special today. Today, this is the first time this show is going to be on YouTube, and hopefully it will be that way shortly. I will have the YouTube channel up and running. Right now, it's currently in the works, and we're getting that done. But today is an historic event for me because we are going to be on both platforms so that you can listen on YouTube if you would like and actually watch the interviews or the podcast that I do, or you can do the whole thing with the podcast as normal, where you can listen to that way. Now, this show is being filmed here today in this historic Colonia Hotel in Biggs, California. And we have this room is, well, you can see from the video, it's very rustic. It's very extremely nice. It's been done over by Mike and Marcy Shad, who are the owners, and they have done a fantastic job of restoring this old hotel back to its former glory. There is an upstairs that is not finished yet, but the downstairs is, and if you need to have an event, there is not much better of a place. It's plenty of parking. It seats quite a few people. This room we're in right here used to be the old bar, but now it's the major area that people come do events at. And so you have weddings, you have a party you want to throw, you can come here. You can get a hold of Marcy at thecoloniabuilding.com, and you can also hit her up. She is one heck of a photographer. She is a professional photographer, and her photography business is called Click and Bloom, and that's clickandbloom.com, and you can get with her and have some excellent pictures taken. So we want to thank her for letting us do this show here, this historic show for the first time for us in this historic hotel. We can't thank them enough for letting us come here. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I have an extremely special guest, and I say that because this wouldn't be possible today without the young man that's sitting with me. And his name is Greg Fischer, and he is here with me, and he is on his way right now to be his own YouTube superstar. And so I want to welcome Greg Fischer to the program.
How we doing, Travis?
Hey.
It's really good to be here. I'm super excited, man.
Greg, I am stoked. We have been talking about this show for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a couple of things come up where we couldn't get it done. I went on vacation, whatnot. But when it finally comes together, ladies and gentlemen, this is a big-time production. Well, only thing we're missing here is the makeup, because when I got here, luckily he had his friend Billy come and help out, and he is actually still here kind of running the show with us while we're doing this. But this was an experience for me just to see all the equipment that we have here.
Yeah, behind the scenes there's a lot going on. And you mentioned makeup. Normally we bring my girlfriend with us, and she films too, but she's always making sure we look good and all that. So, but we're missing her today, but that's all right. We'll make it work.
So I mentioned in the opening that you are on your way to being a YouTube star.
Correct. Yeah.
Now that is really an accomplishment in my world, because I love this whole technology that we've got going on with us. You know, this podcast, and you probably know this because you're in the world with me, but you can look on my host, which is Buzzsprout, and I can see people that have listened to me across the globe.
It's a really cool feeling. You know, I've been doing YouTube for a really long time, just making random videos and whatnot. It wasn't until like this last January that I found like my niche, you know, like what I want to do. And I mean, since January, I've acquired 10,000 subscribers, which is insane. And the numbers just keep going up like hundreds a day. So it's really cool to like, there's so many positive people out there, you know, and it's so cool to see all the feedback from people all over the world, enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm actually really enjoying it too, so it's just a double win.
Greg, I am right with you. I get a real kick out of talking on this microphone. In fact, I think my wife says I like to hear myself talk, and it's probably true. But I think if you do this kind of stuff, you got to be able to do that. You know, and so I think that what you're doing, and then you came to me and you said, hey, man, I really think you're missing a part of your show with the YouTube. And I'd wondered about that, but you have really cemented that in my head that that's something that I should do. And what I really think is cool, Greg, is you said, hey, you promote me, I'll promote you.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden my followers are listening to you, and your followers maybe will listen to me, and that would be really cool.
That's the goal here. You know, like I try and tell everyone I know, if you're doing something, you should have a YouTube along with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're an electrician or you're a plumber or whatever it is you're doing, the YouTube channel, man, there's a spot for you there.
Yeah.
And it's just going to continue to keep growing. And the knowledge that I've learned in the last 4 or 5 months just from my channel blowing up, it's like, I want everyone to have this knowledge, and I want everybody to excel on YouTube. It's just such a cool platform.
It's so cool what you can do in this day and age, where when we were younger, you couldn't figure out how to do something. If it wasn't in the outdated encyclopedia, you were screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, now you go on YouTube. In fact, I was at a job interview recently, and they asked me, what are you going to do if you don't know how to do something? And I said, well, first I'd ask people, and if they couldn't help me out, I'd go on YouTube.
Yep.
And they're like, man, yeah. I said, well, and it's true. You know, I'm not a young pup, but I know when there's a good value. And right now, YouTube, it really is something, and you can, you know, hey, I don't know how to fix my lawnmower. And you go on YouTube and you can watch videos all day long. So it's really cool that we are in this day and age where, you know, when we were kids, if you wanted to do what we're doing right now, you had to be at a radio station.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? You didn't, I couldn't have a show. You can't do that when we're younger. And now, you know, I've been wanting always to get into radio or to do this kind of DJing, I guess you'd say. But you have done it with the YouTube side of things. And so that to me is just outstanding.
Yeah, and even besides YouTube, like all this audio and video stuff, I've been doing it ever since high school. I used to actually get in trouble quite often at Biggs High School with my video camera, and everybody knows some of those stories. We won't get into them, but I was the kid in 2004 that, you know, you walked into my room and there was 5 computer monitors, the big ones.
Gotcha.
Like set up, and my dad was always wondering, like, what are you doing in here, you know? And like I was editing videos and learning how all this stuff worked, and then, you know, like once the internet was kind of a boring place back then.
Yes, it was.
And I was really heavy into it, but it was all just script of, like, you know, you're just reading. It was just a forum pretty much on how to do things. But once YouTube came out, it was just like, okay, now all this equipment I have, how do I get, like, I can visually see how to get all the use out of it that I need. And also, it made me realize the equipment I had is junk, and I need and I need better stuff. But, you know, I'm always constantly upgrading and getting the things that I think will be the most professional. So.
Well, I remember, Greg, on one of my podcasts, I talked about the making of the jackalope hunt that we did back in 1986.
I watched that. That was a good one.
And when we uploaded that to YouTube 10 years ago, you could only put a 15-minute clip on.
Yep.
And now you can put as much as you want on there.
Yeah.
And you know, and it's just how things have evolved, and the popularity of YouTube has really taken off. And it is something that I hope that in the future it just keeps going the way it is. And I don't see how I don't see how it can ever stop.
No, right now we are seeing like the beginning of YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, pretty soon here, you're going to see things like Dish Network and DirecTV going away.
Oh, yeah.
And things like YouTube coming in. And what's cool is, like, especially people my age and younger, we're addicted to shows that are on YouTube that are ran by 3 or 4 people.
Yep.
And not this big old huge network. And so it's really cool to see more people be able to get into, what they would say Hollywood, but it's not Hollywood. It's just people being able to do what they love, and millions of people are able to watch it.
Yeah.
So
No, and if you don't know this show, and I'm sorry I keep banging my watch on the table, but if you don't know this show, when I was setting up this podcast, I did not know where to go with far as the content. Where should I go? Politics, religion, or whatever it was. And I came up with, I want to make this a show kind of like Seinfeld did. And we all know how Seinfeld was such a failure. I'm just kidding, right? We know that it was massive and it was a show about nothing. Well, I took that and turned it a little bit and said, this is going to be a show about everything. And what I say about that is because if I come across something interesting, like the guy that's sitting across from me today, I want to talk about it. I want to let you know out there different things. So like every episode, it might be good for Billy. He may really like this one, and the next one he might not care much for. But the point is that I'm trying to get things out there that people will want to see or want to hear.
Well, and that's what's good about having different guests.
Yeah.
Because I listen to your podcast every time you put something out, and I get more excited about when you have a guest there.
Yes.
Because I get to hear you and someone else as well. So, that's what's really cool about this podcast thing is people really, they find someone that they like and they really enjoy it. Well, then you bring in a guest, and then all these people are introduced to somebody new.
That's right.
And the web just spreads.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm going to kind of want to do with my podcast is it's just all people that are creative.
Yeah.
And whether that's art or, tattoo artists or photographers, videographers, musicians, stuff like that.
That's right.
Because I feel like art has been here since the beginning of time, and it's never going to go away.
Oh, no.
And, things like politics and sports and stuff like that, there's ups and downs. And, you've seen in the last few years a lot of people just I don't want to watch sports anymore because, politics got involved and stuff.
That's right.
But I feel like with art, it doesn't matter. You can take someone that makes an awesome song and then goes to prison for murdering someone. That song is still awesome. Yeah. And people will still listen to it. So, once you separate the person from the art is always there.
Well, I can't help but always dance to Billie Jean when I hear it.
There you go. Yeah. Everybody does.
Yep. That was my guy in the 80s, I mean, Michael was it. So I totally agree with you. So, Greg, we're going to ask you a few questions.
Okay, let's go.
And so we're going to say, where are you from, Greg?
I am from Richville, California.
All right.
I grew up on a ranch called the Carlson Ranch, and it's about 2 miles out of town.
Okay.
West. And I lived there the first 12 years of my life. And the only neighbors that I had were the Thingballs. So Jeff Thingball, I don't know if you know him or not.
Jeff.
But,
great guy.
It was me and him. And that's it, for miles. And so you can imagine the stuff that we got into. And I think just living out there made me truly who I am today.
Okay.
I really love the country. I also love people. So I like going places where there's a lot of people, concerts and stuff like that. I love to socially interact, but the country roots is where I'm from, and I will always be.
Good. Well, you kind of sound like me, Greg. I'm the same way. So who are your parents?
My dad is Alan Fischer. He does concrete in the area.
Oh, yes.
And then my mom is Helena. And, so.
Alan Fischer is one of those guys that has done many jobs for me, and he is one heck of a guy. He will bend over backwards for you. He's always been there. When I was Little League president, he did a slab for me. For the batting cage. I mean, just one of those guys that you can always count on, and I really like your dad. And I'm sure your mom too, but I don't know her like your dad.
Yep. Nope. I was blessed with good parents.
Yes. And now, where did you graduate from?
I graduated from Biggs High School in 2004.
Wolverines.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Red Dawn Wolverines. All right. So same with me. I graduated from Biggs as well. Where do you live now?
I live in Richville.
Richville. Yep. So you didn't go far.
I moved in high school. I did a year of high school. Well, my parents got divorced when I was in 8th grade. And that was pretty hard on me. I didn't know where I wanted to be. My parents gave me the option, hey, you could live with your mom or your dad, and they kept it really civil. You know, it wasn't too like a crazy thing for us kids. I have friends where like their parents' divorce was just traumatic because they're fighting and the court system and all that. They didn't do any of that, so it was easy. But at the same time, my mom went to LA. So that was a long ways away. I didn't want to be away from my friends and my other family, but I was a mama's boy, like huge. So I really wanted to be with her. So I tried a year in high school down in Ventura County, and that was like culture shock. It was, I went from a 54 kids in our class to 1,000.
1,000,
So it was really crazy. But I eventually moved back. And then after high school, I moved there again just to try it out, and I didn't last very long. The city. I love the people, but like the city to drive 15 minutes takes 2 hours. I couldn't do that. I like getting stuck behind tractors here. You know,
I go to visit people that I know in big cities, and we'll say, hey, let's go out for dinner. You know, and they'll say, oh yeah, I got this good restaurant. It's just a few blocks away. You know. And so I'm talking with my wife, Amy, you know, and we get to the restaurant after, of course, the people are you know, we're back at home or whatever. I'm like, short drive. I could have drove to Redding in the time it took us to drive 4 blocks.
And for those that don't know, Redding is about an hour and a half or so from here.
Yeah, it's just like the distance. You know, when I jump in my car and drive from Biggs to Gridley, I know it's going to be about a 5 to 10 minute ride, and I know that it's going to be like that every time. It's not going to turn into an hour. If it did, I'd go another way. But it's funny to me when you're in the big city how blocks can sometimes take you longer than if you drive from here to Chico, which is 30 miles away.
Yep.
So I hear you, Greg. I hear you.
So yeah, Richville is where I'm from and where I'll probably always be.
So Richville, do you have any brothers and sisters?
You know, I have 3 sisters.
3 sisters.
Yep. So I have 1 biological sister and 2 stepsisters.
All right.
But I don't look at them that way. They're all 3 just my sisters.
Your sister. Are they around here?
So I got 1 in Westwood, 1 in Orland, and 1 in Sacramento.
Oh, so not far.
Yeah.
That's good.
And all 3 of them, they went to the Air Force after school. So, you know, very appreciative of them for serving, which was really, really awesome of them. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what kind of work do you do?
Oh man, I get asked that a lot, and it depends on the day.
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day. A lot of my friends will call me, "What are you doing today?" You know, because one day I'm either filming for one of my projects or other people's projects, or you know, we got a band as well. Our band name is Amajra, and I'm doing something with the band. And then I also do drone work for people. I fix computers, and then I also help my dad do concrete too, and that helps me kind of stay in shape. So I kind of enjoy doing that. You know, it's really hard work, but all the other work I do, there's nothing physical about it. So there's something about getting up at 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning and doing concrete. It feels refreshing. it feels good. So
that is a hard trade, man. When Alan has helped me do slabs and stuff, man, I'm telling you, that guy can work, and it's something else that you can do. You know, if you can do that, great. If not, it's a hard go. So that's why I kind of look up to Alan in that situation. So, what are your goals, Greg?
Ooh, man, I got a lot of those. I really do have a lot of goals, but I think my ultimate goal would make me the happiest person that I could be is our band, traveling, playing shows.
So you have a band?
Yep.
What's the band name?
Our band name is Amajra.
Amajra.
Yep.
Okay.
And everybody gets hung up on that name because it's a hard one to say. But
how did you come up with that name?
So me and Derek Bissell, we started this band back in 2008, and we didn't have a name. And we were sitting there playing, and we're thinking of what a cool name would be. And his dad he was like, "Oh, I got a name for you." And we're like, "What is it, Mike?" You know, because he always had these crazy ideas. And he said, "Amajra," and we're like, "What's that?" And he's like, "I don't know." We're like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he's like, "I don't know. It just sounds cool. I hear it in my head." We're like, "Well, how do you spell it?" "I don't know." So we gave it a spelling, and then the definition that we gave it is basically pretty much the energy between the performer and the listener. So when we're playing a live show and we're jamming out and the crowd is digging it, that is a feeling of Amajra.
Amajra. That's hey. I love it. It sounds really catchy. Really, it does.
Yep. But back to the goals.
Yes.
So that's one of them.
Yeah.
And then my other goal would be able to just do YouTube full time.
Okay.
As much as all the other stuff that I love doing, I love working on computers and repairing them for people. Most of that work I do because I just like helping the community.
Gotcha.
But as far as a full-time job for revenue, I would be happiest doing YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not concrete?
No, but everybody in the concrete world says it. Like once you do it, you're in for life.
You're
so
there for life.
I'll be doing it for life. You know, I could probably win the lotto next month or next week for what, $1 billion or whatever it is.
It's gonna be like 1.2, I think, Friday.
And I'd still be out there probably pouring concrete. So
yeah. Well, you're only gonna pocket about 500 million. So.
Yeah. Oh darn.
So, what kind of music do you listen to and play?
Well, now that I'm doing this reaction stuff on YouTube.
Explain that for a second.
Okay, so what I do on YouTube is basically I watch a music video and I film myself and I give my honest opinion on it and I review it and I just kind of talk about what I like and don't like about it.
So tell me what you mean by that, so the audience can understand. What do you like? You see a video, like if I was to watch Michael Jackson's Thriller, what would you say? What would you react to that? I'm curious.
So with me being a musician and also doing film, there's a lot for me to talk about. I talk about the musicianship standpoint, but then I also talk about how I think they filmed the video. I get stuck a lot, like listening to a song and watching the video and thinking, how'd they shoot that shot, you know? And I just kind of talk and give my opinion, and I think that's what separates me from a lot of other reactors is the reaction community has grown really big on YouTube in the last year or two, but it's a lot of people that aren't really knowledgeable in music or music video or the production of it.
Gotcha.
So I think that's why a lot of people enjoy my channel because I'm kind of
you're immersed in it.
I'm involved in all of it, yeah.
So that's a huge point. I think if I'm going to listen to somebody, I want somebody who's
and reaction channels aren't for everybody. It's really weird. Like I've got a lot of friends where before I started reacting, I would show them a reaction video, and they're like, "Why would you want to watch somebody watch something?" And to me, it's no different than if me and you are sitting in the room and a new album comes out from an artist that you either or don't know, and I just want to show you that album. Yeah. We sit in this room and we listen to it and we talk about it. Like, that's the excitement I get. So it feels like I'm talking to the whole entire world about my feelings on a song.
Well, how did you get that idea?
I watch a lot of reactors, and I have I have been for the last probably 4 or 5 years. I don't know, Billy. How long ago did I start watching No Life Shack? That was 2018. Yeah, it was a while back, and I was just always like I wanted to know what people thought about music that I liked. So.
Now, Greg, you watch these videos, and I apologize for this, but when I grew up, MTV was monster. I mean, now MTV channel is horrible, but when you have back then everything was videos, right? I mean, you couldn't wait for Dire Straits video to come on with all the dog and all this other stuff. That was so cool. But they still make music videos.
Oh yeah, music videos is just turned to YouTube.
Okay,
and it's the biggest platform to get. I think people would rather watch a music video half the time than listen to a song.
Oh, I agree with
even me too. So I watch a lot of videos, and now I'm watching more music videos than ever because I have to make sure I'm on top of what's coming out so I can react to it and show other people.
Is there a specific genre you listen to, react to, or is it anything?
I'm all over the place. It's hip hop, rock. What's crazy is I've never listened to Kelly Clarkson in my life ever.
Except when she was on
I didn't even listen to her then because I don't watch TV either. So I literally I couldn't even name a Kelly Clarkson song. And one night I was driving home from Chico, and a song came on my YouTube playlist, and it was Kelly Clarkson singing "Fancy" by Reba McEntire. And that song, it's got a place in my heart for certain reasons.
Okay.
I damn near cried driving home, and it was dark. I was out on August Frias, real dark. It was 11 o'clock at night, and I heard that, and I started crying almost. And I was thinking, man, if I could have captured that moment on camera, man, people would have liked that. It was powerful. Yeah. So I went home, turned my camera on, turned my lights on, and made my first reaction video that night. And it was Kelly Clarkson singing that "Fancy" by Reba McEntire.
Now, when you make these reaction videos, are you just basically talking into the camera, or do you have the video with it, or
when you click on my video, you'll see me sitting there and a window with the video also, and I play it, and then when I feel like I need to talk or address something, I stop the video, express what I want to express, and then hit play again.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's a crazy world out there. How many people? There's reactors with over millions of subscribers.
How long is a reaction video typically?
Normally they can range anywhere from 10 minutes to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. I try and keep it short, but sometimes there's when the music is really good and the video is really good, and the production is very good, I have all three of those things to talk about, and so a video will end up being longer.
So at the end of each video that you do you do a score?
No.
Do you rate?
Nope, no. And I'll tell you this too, I don't like negative energy, so I don't react to songs that I know that
You don't like?
I'm just gonna trash on. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
I just don't like that energy, and I'm always a person that even if I don't like certain music, I respect it.
Gotcha.
It takes a lot of work to write a song first off, and then it's even more to put it out there in the world.
Oh yeah.
Wondering if millions of people are gonna like this or not. So it takes a special kind of person to make a song and put it out on the internet. So I don't ever want to purposely just, hey, this song sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So I just kind of stay away from the stuff that I personally just don't enjoy.
That's not the normal.
It's not. No, it's really not. Yeah.
Which is good, I think, because I think we need more of that, to be honest with you.
Well, this whole channel thing, it's kind of conditioned me a lot in the last 4 or 5 months, and people around me will tell you the same thing because, it's trained me not to just freely throw around cuss words like I have my whole entire life.
Hey, I agree with you.
Throughout conversation, I'll say a lot of cuss words, but I figured out early on YouTube, if you don't cuss, you make a lot more money.
Interesting.
So the first few videos, I'm trying my hardest not to cuss, but now it's natural, and I've gone my whole life thinking oh, it'd be way too hard for me to hold a conversation without cussing. But now not only on YouTube, but just in my daily life, I've noticed, of course you get around those people where words just fly around and that happens, but it actually kind of feels good.
Well, that's a self-control thing, right? I mean, it really is. What they say, that cussing is the lazy man's speak, right, basically. And if you can, appropriately do it when you need to, and then when most of the time not. That's a good. In my life too, a good goal is to try to do less of it. I agree.
Every now and then, like when I'm doing a reaction, something will happen, And I just have no other choice just to look dead in the camera and say, that was fucking awesome, you know? So it happens, you know?
Yeah, there's a place for sure.
But I think what conditioned me, honestly, the most on all that was, so like I mentioned, Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
Never listened to her before. The turnout and the reaction that I had from doing that video, thousands of people just loving it, telling me to do more Kelly Clarkson. I started doing more Kelly Clarkson. So it's gotten, fast forward now 4 months later, I'm doing a live stream every Wednesday night where we just listen to Kelly Clarkson doing cover songs. And it's from her show, Kelly Clarkson. It's from her show, and they call them Kellyokies, because she's just covering other people's songs. And there's like 600 of them, and we've already covered over 150 of them. So
When you make a video, Greg, is it just one video you're doing, or is it?
yeah, I do one video, but when I live stream, it's a lot of videos.
Gotcha.
And it's cool. Like, people will pay and donate money for me to react to a certain song. And, you know, I always tell people they don't have to donate, but like the way we've got it set up now is there's a huge queue of songs people want to hear. But when you donate and request a song, it jumps up on the top of the list.
Wow.
So I've got people in the chat just, you know, going crazy, and it's all new to me. So I'm like sitting there looking, I'm like, I feel so blessed that people would pay me to do this.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
No. Well, talking about appreciation for music, Greg, I've never been one to go to an orchestra concert, right? But I had to change my tune when I listened to the theme song for Yellowstone. I don't know if you've heard that.
I have heard that, yes.
I'm telling you, Greg,
I haven't watched the show, but I've heard that. I know the theme song.
I'm telling you, my wife gets nuts with me because I will blast it. It's only 2 minutes, and Brian Tyler is the composer of it. He's the one who made it. He did it on an orchestra setting in the States, and then he also did one in Europe, in London.
Wow.
And if you get a chance,
you went and watched it live?
Oh, no, I watched it on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what it is about that, but the way they play all the string instruments and the French horns and stuff.
When you first brought it up, it instantly reminded me. Have you ever watched an orchestra in real life?
I have seen it, maybe not a full-blown orchestra, but something similar to that.
So I filmed an orchestra in Chico about 3-4 months ago. I was hired to film this small orchestra in a studio, and when I left that building, I felt like something just hit Control-Alt-Delete on my body, like the vibrations and everything. It was just so, it was like healing. It was really weird. When I was driving home, it felt like I just woke up from a 30-hour sleep. Like, I'm ready to do whatever. It was really crazy. So, like, I'm wanting to do more of that. I'm wanting to listen more.
Yeah, I'm a fan of people that can play, and I don't care what instrument it is, but if you can play. Well, I've always told my sons, if you can pick, you can pick. Meaning you can pick your wife,
yeah.
right?
sometimes, not all the time, not all the time.
And they say, and I said, look, an instrument is like you speaking a second language.
Yep.
Right? I mean, you don't get there easily. Most people don't.
You don't.
And so, if you can do that, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've have a couple of people that I know that were in college, and they said, man, the guy who could play in the fraternity, I mean, literally, he could pick the gal he wanted to be with, whoever wanted to be his girlfriend, because he had the option. He could pick. Now, you could play a piano. It doesn't matter what the instrument is, but if you can do something a lot of others can't.
Well, it's funny you say, you don't get there easily. I've had a lot of people in my life tell me, man, you're so blessed to be able to play the guitar the way you do. And I'll tell you right now, I was not blessed. I sat down for hours and hours and hours every single day, and my fingers bled for months and months and months till I could even play a song. And so I remember my mom and stepdad had bought me a really expensive BMX bike. I think it was like $500 back in like the late 90s.
Oh, yeah.
So it was really expensive. I traded that BMX bike for a bass guitar with 2 strings. The volume knob didn't work. It was stuck in the full position. And then the jack where you plug it in was hanging out.
Oh, boy.
I traded my bike for that. And I went home and I started trying to play the bass. And my dad's just in the next room like, shut up. But, you know, my mom and dad both, and both of my step-parents have always been very supportive. And so here we are now. We just opened up for a Billboard artist a couple weeks ago, and we're playing big shows, and we're doing it. So
Hey.
it's paid off.
Hey, and Greg is a guy that I hit up early on when I started playing guitar, and I'm nowhere near what the instrument genius Greg is compared, but he is absolutely right when it's there's very few out there who are gifted in anything. And I'm not sure even if you're gifted, if it still doesn't take a large amount of work to be able to play an instrument.
I always say, if anything, you're gifted with the ambition to want to learn.
And that I totally agree, because it hit me like a brick when I started playing the guitar, and it is something, and I got to be honest, I'm one of those guys when I was younger, I'd get into a sport or whatever, or a thing, and then a few months later, I'd have all these things that I bought, and I don't use them anymore, right? Well, I can honestly say that the guitar, for me, is something that has not left me, and I don't think it ever will, because I am a super fan of music and a super fan of like you said, appreciating somebody who can play. I may not listen to heavy metal, but when that guy jams on that guitar, I can't even imagine how that's even possible.
Yeah.
You know, I really can't. And so it doesn't matter if it's the violin, the guitar, it takes a lot of work, and I appreciate that effort.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, and I think, too, just to touch on that again, me wanting to play the guitar so bad, and a lot of things that I do, when I dive into something, I'm just consistently obsessive about it.
Yeah.
And I think that came from when I was younger. I remember one of the first things was in Little League, I wanted to pitch. And my dad told me, if you want to pitch, you got to learn how to be a pitcher. And that involved, you know, throwing the ball thousands of times, you know, throughout the night. And my dad, you know, got me all the equipment that I needed to make me a pretty good pitcher for Little League, you know.
Sure.
And I think that was like the start of me just, you know, when I want to do something, I'm going to try and be like the best that I can be at it.
Yeah,
I don't want to. Yep, exactly.
And that's exactly what's that? The 10,000 hour rule, right?
Exactly,
You got to
yep.
do 10,000
Well,
hours.
what's hard with me is I have a lot of different things that have 10,000 hours involved.
And I will have to admit to Greg and the audience that my guitar playing has drastically been cut back with this additional podcast that I'm doing now, because I am so into this, but I don't see this ever going away, because like I said earlier, I really enjoy doing what I'm doing right now, and I would like to have it take off even bigger and better, but that is something that right now is one of my big priorities.
Yep.
So
Hey, you got to follow your heart, man.
you do, and I don't want to leave the guitar totally, obviously, but I'm not practicing like I used to.
Yep.
So I know that life gets in the way. So, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh, 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe Tennessee or Georgia.
Now, Tennessee or Georgia, why?
You know, I spent some time out in Georgia last summer.
Doing what?
What's funny is a friend of mine that I met on Call of Duty. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's an online video game.
Okay.
I met him on there probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, and we played like almost every single night. And it got to the point where we were, you know, calling each other during the day, hey, how you doing? And, you know, one day, my buddy, his name is Big Web. I think I'm actually wearing one of his shirts right now.
Big Web, there it is. Yep.
So, and when I say Big Web, he's big. He's this big old huge black dude. He's like got to be 6'4", I don't know, over 300 pounds. He's a big guy. He might even be like 6'7".
Was he a lineman for Georgia?
I think he did. I think he did play some football. But anyways, he said, man, Fish, you got to come out to my birthday party. You know, we've been talking a long time. We've been friends online. You got to fly out here and film my birthday party.
Okay.
I was like, all right, when is it? You know, so we got a plane ticket and I flew out there. And I mean, it was a huge culture shock, you know, but it was literally like one of the best times I've ever had in my life. And I did not want to come home.
What time of year did you go there?
I went in July. No, actually, it was June 19th.
Was it brutally humid and hot?
You know, a lot of people said, oh, you're going to hate the humidity out there. It really didn't feel any different than being in Richville when all the rice fields are full of water.
Gotcha. Except we don't have water now.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it felt fine. But the weather changes like crazy over there. You know, 1 second it'll be like, you know, raining a little tiny bit, and then 15 minutes later it's just super sunny, and then it's humid. But I noticed like the humidity came the worst at night. You know, 'cause
yes.
I smoke cigarettes, so like I'd go outside of his house at nighttime, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, now I'm feeling it. But if I were to live there, I'd be fine because at nighttime I'm inside.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we went on a trip to Louisiana to go to the Manning Passing Academy for my son, and we stayed in Monroe, Louisiana. And one thing I was not familiar with was, like you, we get up early to go to the camp, and I go outside at like 7:30, and it feels like it's here in the evening. It's hot.
Yep.
You know, at least if it's hot here in the early morning, it's always cool. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's 100 degrees that day. In the morning, it's least cool.
Yeah.
There, it was like no relief ever.
How cool everything else was, though, I'll take that. I'll take it any day. When I remember the first place we went was we stopped at a gas station when he picked me up from the airport. And I'm like, man, it is taking a long time for this cashier to get through all these people. But everybody's just talking. And the cashier's having conversation with every single person. The people in line are conversating. It took almost 2 full days for me to get used to the pace that people live over there.
Yeah.
Over here, it's like now, hurry up. Like we went to a sandwich shop, and it took like 45 minutes to get a sandwich. And I looked at my buddy Webb. I'm like, dude, it's kind of taking a long time. He's like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, this is crazy. But then, you know, after a few days, I had adapted to it, and it was really cool.
So Big Webb is a trucker?
Yeah, he has a trucking outfit.
So when you met him, this is the first time you've ever seen him in real life,
This
right?
is the first time ever, yeah.
So in your impression, was it what you thought? Was it not?
You know, it felt like I was going to hang out with Billy or Derek.
Really?
Yeah, because we talked so much on the phone that it was like, and we knew each other. We had each other's Facebook, so we're seeing pictures of each other. We would video call. Like, we're pretty close friends. And so, like, I even knew what his truck looked like. So when I get out of the airport, and I see his big old truck, and I can hear the music blaring, and I'm like, there he is.
There he is.
And I filmed the whole trip. And like I said, it was a culture shock, you know, but it was some of the nicest and genuine people I've ever met in my entire life.
I will agree. The life is a lot slower back there. Mm-hmm. So you said Georgia or Tennessee. What about that?
Yeah, I went to Georgia. That's where I was at. But
Tennessee for the taxes?
It just seems like more and more, like right now, the music industry is just thriving with artists from Tennessee. And so I follow a lot of artists right now that are really huge. And they're all from Tennessee, and they're always posting, you know, their life on the internet. And I'm like, man, this place just looks fun. It looks like it's more me. It's got a huge music scene. You know, there's a lot of trails and stuff out there for side-by-sides.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And me and my girlfriend, we bought a side-by-side last year, and, like, we've been doing that a lot. So I just feel like I'd fit in Tennessee more, and it's so close to where my buddy lives in Georgia that it's
not bad.
You know.
Now, Greg, have you ever been to Nashville?
I have not.
I got to tell you, I went there last year for my birthday.
I bet that was fun.
Greg, we went to the RCA recording studio where Elvis did his deal, and where tons of others have been there. They don't use that one anymore, but it is on a tour for you. There's an X on the floor in a room about this size And I said, what's the X for? He goes, that's where you stand when you record in this room. They figured out that's the acoustic perfection.
That's the perfection right there.
And Elvis was a night owl, which I didn't know. And so all of their recordings were done at night. And they said he'd come in that door right there, and he came in, and they would do their session. Well, the producer said, I have a new song that I want you to record tonight. And he ran it by Elvis, and Elvis says, I don't like it. I don't want to do it. He goes, well, let's just give it some time. So they did the session, and about 4 a.m, finally that time came, and Elvis reluctantly agreed to do it. And so the control room set up there, and he said, I'll do it. But let me back up a touch. And you walk in that room, there's red lights, blue lights, green lights, and they said, depending on what he was singing, that's the light he wanted on.
Gotcha.
Right? For gospel, blue,
different
that.
feeling.
Exactly. Yep. So he finally got to this spot where he was going to do this song that he didn't like, and the producer was adamant, you're going to do it. So he said, but I'll do it, but I want the lights off.
Oh, wow.
I don't want the lights on.
Do you recall what song it was?
I do.
Okay.
And you're not going to believe the song that he didn't want to do.
Which one?
Are You Lonesome Tonight?
Oh, wow.
Are You Lonesome Tonight? He didn't like that song. Are you kidding me? And if you listen closely, Greg, if you go home, or anybody you out there, if you listen to that recording, you will hear after the last word is said and it's almost fading out, you will hear a little bump. And that bump is Elvis hitting his head on the microphone because he couldn't see it. And they could not dub it out, so it is there. So that's some trivia for you out there.
That's funny. That's going to be my next, that'll be my next reaction.
Yeah.
Because we went and watched the Elvis movie, which was great, by the way.
Was it good?
It was my favorite movie of the last year for sure. But right when I got home, I did a reaction to him playing Unchained Melody live, which was not his last live performance, but close to his last live performance before he passed away. And that video did extremely well, and there's a lot of people that want me to do more Elvis. So
you'll get all kinds of older people. My grandma was, oh my gosh, she was a diehard Elvis.
My grandma had everything. I think I still have a lighter that she gave me, but she had Elvis plates and lighters and spoons and everything. Yeah,
he is, yes. But Nashville, Greg, you go down the Nashville street. I call it Main Street. I don't even know what the name of the street is, but every bar they got a band.
Oh, I bet.
And it's 2 to 3 stories, and every story has a band.
Yeah, I can't wait to go.
It's nuts, Greg. And I'm telling you, these guys, and like I said before, I'm just appreciate it. One of them's playing rock, the next guy's playing country, the next guy's and I I could just sit there all day and listen.
Yep.
And just, some of them just play so good. And what cracked me up is I asked a couple of people who were regulars, they were the locals. I said, so when do these people get their shot? And he goes, oh, nobody on this strip gets their shot. I said, what do you mean? He goes, oh, no, this is just for fun. The real stuff happens over at the Blue Oyster or whatever that's where Garth Brooks was found down there.
Yep.
But that's where the real, that's where the people that are closer. But you know how it is in life, Greg, I think. It's all who you know.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
You know somebody who can get you in to have somebody take a listen to you. But he goes, yeah, usually you'll never see a record guy walking the streets listening for somebody here.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought that was kind of bad because these people were good.
I feel like it's kind of like that way right now everywhere you go. We were actually just talking about this as a band, talking about different places traveling to play, but a lot of it's not beneficial anymore because there's not people out there looking for bands because they can just look on YouTube.
That's it.
So if you're not well equipped with videos online, then you could play all the live shows you want, but you also have to have that online presence, and that's the world that we're transitioning into. So and there's no way around it.
Well, and it's all I think half of it's luck, but like I said, I'd rather be lucky than smart any day because it seemed like with Garth Brooks, I don't know if you know his story, but he was playing at that bar, and he was supposed to go on like 5th that night. And he had just been turned down by all of the record companies in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
with his so-called producer that bankrolled his house to start this business to be his producer. He got turned down by every one of them, and the last turn down, the producer looked at Garth and said, in their old pickup he was riding around, he goes, Garth, I don't know when it's gonna, if it's gonna happen, I just know when. I know it's going to happen, I just don't know when.
Uh-huh.
And Garth thought, well, if he can bankroll his house and put that on, still believe in me, I guess I got to start believing in myself. So he goes to play at this bar. The record producer that turned him down last that day happened to be in the audience.
Oh, wow.
There to
he
listen.
changed his mind?
There to listen to the number 2 guy that was coming on.
Ooh.
And the number 2 guy didn't show up. So the managers looked at Garth and said, would you mind going on a number 2? And he goes, because so-and-so didn't come on. He goes, sure. Plays his gig. At the end, that record producer comes up to his producer and says, I think we missed something. See me Monday.
All right.
Now, how do you...
That's, yeah,
you know
crazy.
what I mean?
Crazy timing.
I mean, that to me is just, that's why, hopefully you're out there. You don't ever give up.
Well,
it's always possible.
The thing is, too, is live music is a lot different than hearing it on an album. And we talk about it a lot with our band, too. It's like we feel like our albums don't give us justice for the live show. There's just so much more energy. It could be the opposite, though, too. Someone could have a really awesome album, and then you go watch them live, and it's like, that wasn't that.
Yeah.
It didn't live up to the album, but I feel like we're the opposite with our band. But also, we did record our first album with $700 and our second album with $2,000. So we were on a budget and we knocked them out really quick. But they're really good albums. But when you come watch us play, everyone always tells us the same thing. Like, wow, after listening to you guys, I wasn't expecting that live. You guys are a whole different animal live. So, and then I asked my tattoo artist too once. I'm like, hey, what's your favorite kind of music? And he said live music. And I just stopped, and I was like, that was the best damn answer that anyone's ever given me when I ask them that question. Because if I ask you that question, you're going to say, oh, I like country, or I like this, or I like this artist. But that was the first time I've ever had someone say, my favorite kind of music is live music. Started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, that guy goes to any concert. It doesn't matter who it is or what it is. He's there to listen. And I was like, yep, that's cool.
So, Greg, I think we're still talking about yourself in 10 years. What did you say? I can't remember. What did we say? We must have got off track or something.
I made the joke of I could see myself in 10 years being in Georgia or Tennessee.
That's right.
But further than that, like I said, it goes back to my goals. I could see myself, being a full-time musician and YouTuber, but there's a lot of things that I'll always do is film. I like the drone stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's another episode, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be coming. We're going to hit that hard because we've got some new rules coming down the pipe for you drone lovers out there.
Yeah, I'm not too happy about any of that.
It's going to be an interesting topic that I hope you can listen to that one when we do it, but that's going to be fun.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things that I'm kind of the same way. What do I want to do in 10 years? If I could do this full time, well, then duh.
Well, I saw a couple weeks ago you said that you had over 1,000 downloads for your podcast.
I do, and right now I'm pushing 1,500 now.
And that's super cool because it's just been a short amount of time.
Yeah,
I went almost 10 years on YouTube with 300 subscribers.
Wow. Well, I'm blessed. Greg, he did say before the show taped today, or what we're doing right now, that he wouldn't be here if he didn't think Front Row Chaos was worth it.
I think it's awesome. You're very well spoken. The topics that you choose to talk about, I'm interested in also. And you do your research before you just hop on and talk about these things. So I remember listening to the one about the electric cars.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of questions that I've always had about electric cars, and you answered all of them.
Well, that's good because I did do some research on that, and that was a shocker to me. It probably was you too, that they don't talk about a lot of, and that is one of the episodes. But, what's weird about podcasting, I think, versus YouTube is when somebody views your thing, it shows it, right?
Yep.
So with podcasts, when the research I did, you have downloads and then you have listens.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows how many listens you actually get, because you could download me and drive in a car in a Suburban with 9 people and play my show, but they don't download it.
Correct. Yep.
And, so I'm hoping that it's more.
Another thing, too, with YouTube, you're going to get the commentary. You're going to get the comments.
Yeah.
And whether you like them or not,
Yeah.
you're going to adjust
Sure.
to who's listening to you and what they're saying.
Yep.
And so with me, it's pretty easy with my channel to know what I need to be doing next based on what
they're saying,
what they're commenting.
And I just recently I got my website up and running. So there's kind of 2 websites. One is on Buzzsprout, which is my host feed for my show. But then I also have GoDaddy, frontrowchaos.com, which I have now. And I have my wife's cousin who set it up for me, and it's a nice website. You can actually go there and hit the home, or you can go to the podcast episodes and listen to them that way. So I'm getting the email set up so that people can actually email the show. And then I'm going to be really stoked when I get my YouTube channel, because then the comments will just come right there.
Even if you just start off right now on YouTube doing audio only, and then, you could throw in some visuals or whatever based on what you're talking about. People love it. I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and a lot of them are on YouTube, but I listen to them mostly when I'm driving, and my phone is just kind of down there in the console, and I'm not even watching it. I'm just listening.
To it.
I think it'd be really beneficial for you, and I'm gonna make you do it. So,
well, and like Greg said, you have more options for you viewers out there, whether you want to view it or whether you want to listen to it. But you have options now coming in the future for the show. And then, of course, when Greg gets his show up, we can just keep doing this little back and forth thing, which is going to be beneficial, I think, for both of us. Correct. To hit different audiences and get different people involved. Like now, Big Webb will listen to my show because he's on it.
Yep.
Right?
There you go.
So we're going to have a Georgia guy already on there.
Yep.
So it's really fun. But I don't know if I have any other questions for you. Do you have anything that we think we missed?
No, I'm just super stoked that we did do this, because I remember you called me like, I don't know, what was that, maybe around Christmas or something. And you were asking me all these questions about microphones and videos, and I remember I was kind of prying into you, like, well, what are you going to be doing? And I never got a solid answer.
Well, that was for the school. I was trying to get the school
so this whole
commercials.
Time, this whole time I thought like you were wanting to know what you needed to get to do this, but maybe you were keeping it a secret or something. I wasn't sure. But when I first saw that you uploaded a podcast, I was like, awesome. I listened to it, and I was just like really excited for you. And I'm excited to be here on it. And then this is the first time I've ever filmed a podcast as well. Yeah. So it's
a first for both of us, ladies and gentlemen.
It's really fun. Normally I'm on the other side of the camera, and so being here and talking, and I can't wait to get my podcast up and going too. So.
Well, and like I said, your equipment here is way above what I'm using. And so if you like the quality of this audio right now, for you out there, for Front Row Chaos listeners, too bad I can't do it yet, but it's coming, but this is really, state-of-the-art stuff that Greg has
here.
Well,
almost every piece of equipment I have has made money. So, once you get out there, I think once you start your YouTube channel and you get your subscriber base up, you'll start making some revenue, and that'll really even want you to do more and more and more, and then you just keep building your business with the revenue that you're making.
Well, with your guidance and my drive to do this, I think it'll work.
I think so too.
I really do. So, well, Greg, I can't thank you enough for doing all this. And if you didn't know, which you probably don't, ladies and gentlemen, we had to get all of this stuff here. Greg has a big old truck and a trailer, and I mean, this was a big deal. And to have this all set up, and basically I just came in and kind of wrote down a bunch of stuff that I was going to ask Greg, and I just think it went flawlessly.
It went pretty well. I'm excited to get on to editing and and get this back to you.
All right, man. Well, if you are out there, Front Row Chaos
Thank you very much.
is it. And Greg, what's your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Fish Tank Productions.
fischtankproductions.com or
Well, yeah, my website just goes straight to a store where you can buy merch, but on YouTube it's just Fish Tank Productions.
Fish Tank
and you can
Productions.
spell it correctly or incorrectly, and I will show up.
You'll still get it.
Yeah.
Good. And, all right, and ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for us, you can always hit Greg up because he could give me the message until I get this YouTube thing going. And you can give me comments, hey, I want to hear this, or hey, I want to hear that. And I'll try my best to satisfy your needs. And then in the meantime, keep listening to Front Row Chaos. You have a blessed and great day.
Peace.